number 44, DeMontre Harris. And the Express are led by their head coach, Bill Jones. And now it's time to meet your starters for your St. John's Edge, proudly sponsored by Pepsi. From North Carolina State, number 3, Alex Johnson. From NC State, number 5, Desmond Lee. From American University, number 24, Charles Hindle. From Grand Canyon University, number 55, Randy Glaze. And at shooting guard, from the University of Hawaii, number 23, Carl English. And from North Carolina State University, the Edge are led by their head coach, Jeff Dunlap.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Mile One Center for St. John's Edge basketball. I'm Steve Power, and I am joined once again here in the booth by the professor, Doug Partridge. Best color guy in the league, bar none. I took a survey, and it was 100% response. Doug, you are the man. You get the title. Windsor Express in town once again here to tangle with our St. John's Edge. Doug, St. John's off a 1-on-1 weekend versus the Moncton Magic. Talk to us a little bit about what you expect to see here tonight.
Well, I think Saturday night I thought was really Jeff Dunlap announcing himself as a strong candidate for Coach of the Year in the league. Friday the team looked so down, the energy was so low, they did not play well. Saturday he did a great job of managing his bench, of bringing his guys back up. And then in the game to face all of the adversity they faced, Carl fouling out early, all those things, and still to come out and get the W, I just thought he did a sensational job. And now tonight they got Niagara coming in, of course, and they got the speedy guards. Thinking of Omar Strong, who was now on this team, used to be on Niagara.
Just going to lead into that. We see Omar Strong here tonight, a little bit of a surprise. He looked really good with Niagara. What's he going to add to this Windsor squad?
Well, I think he adds scoring off the bench. I think that one of the things, they got a great production from the guard spots. They got great production from Stutz, the big man. But now with a guy who can come off the bench and give you 20 in any game, now you've got a little depth in your scoring, which I think will help them.
So there you go, all teed up, set up for you folks watching over the World Wide Web. We're glad you're joining us. Feel free to reach out to me on Twitter. We're live and interactive here. @StevePowerNL is the Twitter handle. And before we get too big into it, I want to give a shout out to George Scott. Chipped in for me the weekend, did an outstanding job. No surprise to any of people who know George here in the Newfoundland sporting community. He's a professional, just a pro. And thanks, George, for stepping in. Desmond Lee, looking to get a free trip to the foul line. Couldn't get it. Good defense there by Windsor. Ball going to be inbounded by Johnson in for English. English to Glaze. Glaze with a little floater about 8 feet away, and he'll get that one to drop early.
Good movement on both those possessions for the Edge, so you like the energy they have early.
one thing I've noticed, Doug, most teams in this league, and let's call a spade, at times they don't get to practice a whole lot. Every team has great set plays off inbounds.
Yeah, and again, when you're dealing with professional players, you usually only have to show them things once or twice, and they got it, right? So they can run a lot of different sets.
Carl English now on the outside, puts it over into the hands of Alex Superman Johnson. Desmond Lee now. Lee got DeMontre Harris on him up top. The big man gets down low on Grandy Glaze. Shot clock down below 5 now. Ball into the hands of English. English in the lane in for Glaze, and they run out of time. 24-second shot clock violation. That'll put the ball into the hands of the Express. Good defense there.
Yeah, Carl probably needed to attack Stutz a little faster there with the clock running down.
Windsor back on the offensive possession. Put the ball in for the big man. DeMontre Harris kicks one to the outside. Harris down low, kicks it out for Stutz. Stutz, three-point shooter. Faked someone nowhere that time. Shaquille Keith puts it out the outside. Now in danger there. Good little layup in the lane there. I thought the shot clock was going to run out on Windsor, but they found the open lane to put it down. English, little floater off the glass with his left hand. Can't get that one to drop. And here come the Express. Express looking good here early on. Wide open look for 3 there by Shaquille Keith. He'll get that one to drop, and Windsor have opened up an 8-2 lead here early in the first.
Yeah, the Express are going to have to do a better job contesting shooters. So this is what got them in trouble last Friday night, just not getting out on people, not getting hands up, and have to get better here.
Carl English with the shot. That'll be the 3-point foul. Carl will go to the line and shoot 3. 9:37 left to play here in the opening quarter. 8-2 early on for Windsor, and we got to expect that'll get cut in half here with Carl English on the line. St. John's do a very, very good job from the free throw line, Doug.
Yeah, they're a very good free throw shooting team. Glaze is really the only guy who's not a plus free throw shooter.
So Carl, 3 for 3 from the line. No big shock there. Him and Charles Hinkle lights out from the charity stripe. 8-5. Windsor now. Here's Logan Stutz. Stutz guarded by Hinkle. He's going to put over for Fraser. Fraser with a rather awkward looking shot there. Lots of time left in the shot clock. Don't know if he was just trying to draw a foul maybe, launching himself into a person.
Yeah, he was trying to get that NBA foul where you rip up through the arm, but Carl got his hand out of the way right in time, and he never got the contact he was looking for.
Lee now. Desmond Lee, guarded by Stutz. Lee puts the ball to the floor. Lee trying to get some penetration. Shot clock going to run out again on the edge. Stolen by Jones. Maurice Jones kicks it outside for Fraser now. Fraser switched up momentarily on Glaze. Back over for Jones. Jones in the outside. That one catches iron, not going to fall. And here comes Desmond Lee.
And early on, Windsor is playing a really expanded defense. They're really bringing a lot of bodies to the perimeter. So it looks like they're going to sort of tell the edge, if you're going to beat us, you're going to have to beat us inside, which is a little different than a lot of teams do it. A lot of teams try and wall off that key and make you take shots, but they know that the edge really survived with that three-point shooting.
Charles Hinkle puts the ball to the floor. Hinkle to the inside. They don't want nothing to do with DeMontre Harris inside, Doug. Harris a big, big presence in the middle.
Yeah, they may need to go up his numbers a little bit, especially early. If you get blocked a couple times, it's no big deal, but if you can get a couple fouls, then you change things around.
Keith outside. Keith hands the ball pretty well for big man, getting it into Harris. Harris draws the foul in the lane. And the Windsor Express with a pretty good start here on the road. You got to think they'll take this one any day.
Yeah, I think they got to be happy with how they've come out. Like I said, they're playing that extended defense. They've gotten the edge down under 3 or 4 seconds in 3 straight possessions. Then down at the other end, they're able to knock down a couple of early threes, get to the free throw line a couple times. So they're certainly working their game well.
Boo Birds out here early at mile 1. Got to give the fans one thing. They do get into a decent crowd here on hand tonight. Certainly not the big crowd we saw the weekend, but to be expected for Tuesday and a Wednesday in February. Here's English for Hinkle. Hinkle gets a wide open look. Hinkle can't get the drop. Big rebound there by Wally Ellenson coming in off the bench. Second chance offense here for St. John's. Good feed there by English to Glaze. Glaze for Ellison. He goes in, muscles it up off the glass to bring St. John's within 1. And right away, go ahead, Doug.
You got to try and keep the backcourt, Fraser and Jones for Windsor, you got to try and keep them off their right hands. They're very, very efficient players when they're able to bounce the ball with the right hand and make plays, and that's what's happening here early.
Johnson now under some pressure here. Got to look for Coach Dunlap. He's gone to Ellenson so far. Pretty soon, if modus operandi here with the edge, a lot of his starters will be coming out on the next whistle. Going to have to wait and see. First place on the line here tonight, Doug. I believe if the Edge can pull out a win, they might take over first place in the league.
Yeah, and the interesting thing, and one of the things we'll have to watch, last Friday night, the Edge bench did not perform well at all. Saturday in getting the win, Coach Dunlop really cut down on the bench minutes. He didn't go deep. He didn't play them a lot. So one thing we're going to have to see is how he manages that bench tonight and how he manipulates it to get the minutes he needs.
Inbounds for Ellenson. Ellenson sees a little bit of daylight, throws it up, and he gets hacked pretty hard there, so he will go to the line to shoot 2. Had a pretty wide open run to the basket goal. That's probably a good foul there by the Express.
Yeah, you want to see whether he can make something from the free throw line. Although he's not a tremendous finisher off the dribble either, so you might have made him prove that a little bit. I think you want him off the line. He shoots the 3, has shot the 3 reasonably well. But I might have wanted to see him finish that layup before I worried about fouling him.
6:54 left to go here. 4-point ball game right now. 14-10 in favor of the visiting Windsor Express. Ellenson, perfect from the line. That's going to bring Jones down the floor. Jones for Fraser. Fraser posted up by Hinkle on the outside. Fraser going to kick it outside for Jones. Jones, long shot. Jones is ice cold here right now from long range. And that puts the ball into English's hand. English pulls up and says, son, that's how it's done. Carl English with a three-pointer. Tying the game here for St. John's. Jones, penetration. Jones steps away. Nothing there. Kicks it out for Stutz. Stutz back outside for Jones. Jones. You can tell they're, Doug, a little hesitant to shoot that.
He's not a very good three-point. He's a great 17, 19-foot shooter. He's not a very good three-point shooter.
Hinkle drives to the lane. Hinkle puts one up, and that's going to be a goaltending call. Yeah. And you can see the fans were ready to eat the official if he didn't call that one.
Yeah, I was surprised that they didn't call it right away kind of thing, but, they had it.
Grandy Glaze going to check out. We'll see Brempong making his first appearance of the night. Great addition for the Edge.
Yeah, he needs to be a little bit better boxing out and cleaning the glass. He had a tough weekend on Friday and Saturday night, so be worthwhile paying attention tonight to see if he can pick that up a little bit.
Logan Stutz hits one from the outside, and he's a guy you don't want to see heating up if you're an Edge fan. But right away, Charles Hinkle, the 1-2 punch of Hinkle and English here for St. John's, puts St. John's in the lead for the first time in this one tonight. Jones. Maurice Jones puts the ball over for Raylan Rayson. There's a shot from George Street. That one doesn't come near anything at all. That missed so bad they might take points off the clock. 5:25 left. We got a timeout. We'll be right back. 19-17, St. John's. Johnson out of the timeout, takes the ball down the floor for St. John's. 19-17, edge over the Express. NBL action here at Mile 1 Center. St. John's, Newfoundland, Labrador. Steve Power joined by the professor, Doug Partridge, bringing you this matchup here tonight.
Yeah, we got travel there on Bremprong. I thought it was a nice little up and under, but he must have dragged the pivot foot a little.
Stutz will put the hands into Jones. Jones down the floor for Stutz. Stutz, good feed down low. Ball kicked up top. Good ball movement here by Windsor, but they just couldn't get it to drop. All of a sudden, starting to draw a little cold here from the outside. English grabs the rebound, looking to penetrate. Now he'll kick outside. Little bit of separation there, and that is all you need when you're wearing 2-3 for St. John's. Jones. Jones out top. Jones looking to kick it out for Stutz. He does so. Stutz puts it in for Rayson. Rayson, guarded by Hinkle. Rayson almost lost that one. Hinkle with an impressive job of defense there on Rayson. Switching up now. Ellenson is on the outside. Rayson puts one up. Rayson, good shot under pressure. Almost gets it, but cannot go. Catches iron. Falls out into the hands of Bembrock. Here's Johnson. Johnson, a little daylight. Kicks it outside for Ellenson. Wally Ellenson wide open from the corner. Couldn't get it to fall, though. Brempong with a good rebound. Here's Jones. Jones all the way down the floor, and Ellenson gets the foul after missing the three-point shot.
Yeah, that was some beautiful ball handling by Jones, weaving his way down the floor, and Ellison just reached in to stop the layup.
Omid Edge's second team foul here in this opening quarter. Lots of room out on the floor, and here we got almost 4 minutes left to play, Doug. The Edge approaching 25 points already. Going to be not exactly the stuff defensive books are written about here tonight.
No.
Here's a shot from the outside from Keith, and that one will fall from Shaquille Keith.
This is very similar to the first quarter of Friday night's game, which was 31-30 at the end of one.
Johnson backed off by Omar Strong. Strong making his first appearance here for Windsor. Here's a shot by Carl English, off balance. Stutz did a pretty good job on him there, but Carl got it to drop. Windsor answer 24-23. Good one going here tonight. Brempong outside for Ellenson. Ellenson guarded by Shaquille Keith. He'll kick it around for Hinkle. Wide open look by Hinkle. And these St. John's shots, Doug, right now, not only are they going in, but the way they're going in, perfect form. It just floats. It's beautiful.
Yeah, they're just silky right now shooting the ball, especially Hinkle and English.
2:45 left the opening quarter, 27-23 in favor of the St. John's Edge. Here's a tough shot there by Keith. He banks that one from about 40 feet away. That's a shot there.
Yeah, I'm not sure you can rely on that for the whole night.
Yeah, I think the Edge will probably give him that one more often than not. There's a long pass there by English to the corner. Johnson's first shot comes up empty. And away comes Omar Strong back for Windsor. Strong for Stutz. Stutz looking to drop and shoot. Got to kick it back out for Strong. Omar Strong looking to get it down low. Good battle down low between Desmond Hubert and Bemprong. Hubert under the basket. Bemprong got all ball on that one, but good second effort there by Hubert, and he gets it to drop on the rebound, giving the Express the lead back. Johnson guarded by Omar Strong. Johnson's going to kick one down low to Carl English. English trying to buy a little bit of room there. English leaning on his man. English kicks it in. Bemprong, little medium pace shot, and he'll just step up and put it down.
And that's one area where he's looked better since he's come here. His shot is really smoothing out the more reps he gets.
I'm not sure what's going on over there. Shaquille Keith looked to just take off his wristband, throw it into the stands. That had to throw him off for a shot. Keith looking to get a foul in. Instead, it comes all the way down the floor. Bemprong underneath. Outside for Hinkle. Hinkle, once again, nothing but net there for Charles. Hinkle hoops Hinkle. Another three ball for Charles.
Keith was trying to get some tape off his fingers and then tried to take a foul to stop the game, but you got to keep guarding. Like, you know, you can take a little break on O to get the tape off your fingers.
Omar Strong with Hinkle in his face. He drops a difficult shot. Nice shot there by Omar. Johnson penetrates down low. Nothing in there. Kicks it out for Bemprong. Bemprong couldn't hold on to that pass. And here's Stutz. Stutz is going to get fouled by English there coming up the floor. 35 seconds remain. Tight first quarter. 32-30 in favor of the St. John's Edge. Jaron Skeet and Russell Bird going to check into the game here for St. John's. And for the Express, we'll get our look here at Sefton Barrett. Barrett played very well earlier in the year here at Mile 1. Strong. 2 possessions still left here in this first quarter. Grayson's going to stop, settle things down. Big battle out top between Bemprong and Hubert. Here's Strong now. Strong sets around the pick. Strong, long 3-ball attempt, and that's a nice shot there by Omar Strong. Strong paying dividends right away here for the Express.
Yeah, like we said, he brings a real scoring flair to their bench and makes them more consistent in terms of how they put points on the board.
5 seconds left. English with the ball over for Skeet. Jaron Skeet the shot. Skeet got hammered after that shot. My goodness. I don't know if Eric Lindros used to throw a check like that with the Philadelphia Flyers. No call on the play. Shot doesn't drop. First quarter in the books. Windsor Express 33, St. John's Edge 32. We'll be back for the call in a second. All right, ready to get going here in quarter number 2. Windsor Express 33, St. John's 32. Some substitutions into the game now. And first time this year I've seen Carl English play the entire first quarter, Doug.
I was thinking the exact same thing. Like, again, we've said the bench and how they manipulate it is going to be interesting. And Carl is piling up a lot of minutes here early.
Russell Bird checks into the game, as well as Tyler Hawes for St. John's. Jaron Skeet's going to handle the ball handling duty. There's a shot from Windsor that fell in, didn't count though. Geez, the bank shots are falling for the Express here tonight. Maybe the bank is indeed open past 5 here in St. John's today. Tyler Haas checks in, 19 seconds of action, picks up his first foul. Grayson outside. Haas gets the task of guarding him. Here's Omar Strong. Strong puts it up, and Strong is heating up here early for the Windsor Express. Omar Strong, that's 11 points for him already, Doug.
Yeah, he's only played about 5 minutes, so he's, you know, I mean, he's a veteran scorer, and he probably has a little chip on his shoulder after being released by Niagara. Probably wants to make a point there. Ooh, Grayson just took a real shot.
Yeah. And some discomfort there on the floors, racing.
Yeah, he was elevating to try and rebound as Hawes elevated at the same time. And
yeah, he's going to have to come out.
He got hit by one guy right into Hawes' shoulder. So
I was going to say, when does the training staff come out in this? Like, he was obviously in discomfort.
Sometimes they just want to see, because
Yeah.
you know, if they go out, you have to come out. So sometimes they'll let it play out for a minute to see whether the guy can go on.
All right, so Racing checks out. Not quite sure who checked in from yet. We'll get in a second. Here's
I think
Bremhahn.
Fraser came in.
Fraser came back in. Fraser, a fan favorite here in St. John's. I don't know if you remember back early in the year, a lot of a, what shall we say, conversation between Fraser and the Edge, and the fans here have not forgotten that one. Strong. Omar Strong on the outside. Strong actually thought about shooting that one, puts it over for Fraser. Fraser draws iron, can't get it to fall, and Brempong grabs the rebound for St. John's. Here's Skeet. Skeet trying to penetrate. We've got an offensive foul call, though, against Brempong. I believe that's an illegal screen.
Yeah, and then, again, going back to the weekend, we saw a lot of illegal screens called for both teams, so it seems like it's something the league wants to see cleaned up a little bit.
Memo may have come down from the league office. Not that we're aware of, but, hey, you see a pattern, who knows? Here's Fraser. Fraser puts the ball to the floor. He's double teamed up top. Going to move it over for Omar Strong. Omar Strong right now, very unfortunate for Omar for that ball, not the drop.
Yeah,
he is shooting from everywhere, Doug.
And shooting well. That's the main thing, and so it's really causing trouble here for the Edge in terms of their coverages and defense.
Glaze up top. Desmond Lee just got hacked down low, and Hubert not happy about that call. But that was a pretty obvious foul there, Doug.
Yeah, he pretty much, smacked him right in the face. So there wasn't much you can do about that call.
If you get a smack in the face here at mile 1, you go to the foul line. You get a smack in the face about 300 yards out the door, that's a different story altogether on a Saturday night in St. John's. 10:08 left to go here in the first half. 36-35 in favor of the Windsor Express, all tied up now thanks to the foul shooting of Desmond Lee. Desmond Lee, Doug, he's started off the year. Listen, all these guys are good.
Yeah.
Desmond Lee, I think since Christmas time, he's been very good for St. John's.
Yeah, I think he was a little dinged up at the start of training camp. I remember that, and he's healthy now. And when he got healthy, his off the dribble game came around. And once he could shoot the three and put the ball on the floor a little bit, and he defends. And last Saturday he showed his rebounding chops. He can do a lot of things for you.
Shot from the outside there by Windsor. That one doesn't fall. St. John's will grab the rebound, bring it down the floor. Jaron Skeet trying to roll around Glaze. That might almost been another one of those illegal screens there, Doug. Glaze almost got the knee out. Penetrates down low as Bird. Bird will draw the foul and get to go to the line for St. John's.
Yeah, and St. John's is starting to look to go to the net a little bit more. Again, we talked about Windsor extending their defense, trying to get out to cover. They didn't do a great job covering that three-point line, but they were trying. Now you see the Edge sort of exploiting some of those lanes to get to the rim.
Great exchange there between Omar Strong and the official. Omar making a gesture. I don't know if it was complimentary towards the official, but he had a smile on his face as he was doing it, so he certainly got away with it. But that was good to see, and that's the way a veteran does it, I guess.
Yeah.
1 for 2 from the line for Bird. Edge up by 2. Drive down low. That's an impressive drive to the basket there by Sefton Barrett coming in. He just muscled that one up and under. Skeet now. Skeet down the floor. Skeet puts the shoulder into Strong. Omar might have tried to embellish that one a little. Here's Bird. Bird posted up by Barrett. Bird comes through. Barrett just takes it away.
Yeah, I think sometimes Bird tries to do a little bit too much off the bounce. It's not necessarily there for him. He needs to be a little bit more patient about those types of plays.
Sefton Barrett right there. Russell Bird, get out of my jello tree. I'm taking that. Edge, ball back now, down for Glaze. Glaze in for Lee. Lee couldn't hold on to that pass. And it's interesting the way Barrett took the ball there. I'd like to see if he could do that from Grandy Glaze. I would bet not.
Not without losing a finger or two, I don't think.
8:40 remaining here in the second quarter. 38s all across the board here All knotted up at mile 1. Omar Strong takes the feed from Fraser. Strong outside now for Barrett. Barrett looks to penetrate, puts it in for Hubert. Hubert gets the basket and the foul. And looks like Bird is going to get tapped for that one as well, Doug.
Yeah, and again, I think the last time these two teams played, Keith got in consistent foul. Shaquille Keith got in consistent foul trouble. They had trouble finding that scoring off the dribble. But tonight they're getting Barrett really penetrating well. Keith stayed on the floor for most of the first quarter, did not get in foul trouble. And I think the Edge has to figure out how to guard those two guys.
Lee puts the ball to the floor. St. John's doing pretty well here, though, in the second half. Got to say, with the, I don't know of a different expression used, the B squad, so to say. The squad coming off the bench. The big guns on the bench, and Hinkle and English were shooting the lights off of there in the first. So St. John's hanging in there pretty good here right now. Windsor, we've seen just about a lot from their bench as well. As we see Stutz is going to come back in. Harris has to check out. Harris only 16 fouls against Windsor. Harris has 3 of them.
Yeah. And again, that's where he just doesn't move his feet that well, and that's where he gets in trouble.
Sefton Barrett with a great effort there to trying to keep that one in bounds. Bird kicks it out for Johnson, for Lee. Lee probably wishing he had to put that one up in the hands of Glaze for Haas. Haas a long 3 ball. Draws iron, but they get the rebound. We got a offensive foul call on Desmond Lee trying to go up for that rebound. Tell us about it, Doug.
Well, I thought before that on Haas's shot, you see kind of where he gets in a little trouble in this league. Like the ball was swung to him and he's open to shoot, but he rushes his shot. He kind of almost throws it because he's been blocked a number of times. He's worried about that, and so he rushes his shot. He doesn't really take his time, and that's somewhere where he's got to find a way to get into spots where he can hit shots in the time that he needs to hit them.
Omar Strong for Stutz. Stutz kicks to the outside, brought around now for Barrett. Barrett from the outside, he drops the 3 ball. Sefton Barrett doing a great job here off the bench.
Yeah, he's playing
Windsor.
D. He's hitting shots. Like I said, I mean, Keith played extremely well up until the time he subbed out, and Barrett has come in and replaced him perfectly. And offensively, you see that they haven't missed a beat. Them with Omar Strong to replace Jones. They're in a much better place as a team.
St. John's probably need a score here on this possession. Bird, long 3-point attempt. That one's not going to fall. Good rebound there, grabbed by Haas, and Haas draws a foul from Anthony Otley Jr.
Yeah, and we're going to see that'll be it for the bench. Again, on just not able to kind of build anything. They kind of hung around. You got 5 minutes out of them, but you go from up 2-3 to down 6. So at some point in time, your bench has to at least be able to battle even with the other team.
So Hinkle and English check back into the game for St. John's. Hinkle can handle that pass in the inbounds, and that's Sefton Barrett once again with some great job on defense.
Yeah. And now they're basically going to play Stutz as the 5, and they got Keith and Barrett out there to give them 2 big athletic wings.
Jones down the floor for Fraser. Fraser guarded by English. Fraser brings it to the basket, can't get through, kicks it back out for Jones, for Fraser. Fraser into the paint, drops his shoulder into Carl, just trying to get the foul there. Fortunately, he got wide open for a little drop deuce, and he put it down. Lee for Glaze. Glaze trying to muscle one down low. Glaze with the baby Kareem hook there. That one didn't fall. And Windsor opening up their biggest lead of the game. Here's Shaquille Keith. Keith can't get that one to fall. English to a wide open Johnson. Johnson for the layup and gets it to fall. Randy Glaze with a great effort there for the Edge.
Yeah, that was all Glaze to force the mishandle by Keith and then to get on the floor and give him a chance to recover it.
Big defensive stop there by St. John. Here's Keith. Keith gets it stripped from Hinkle, and Hinkle once again. Defense starting to pick up, and it starts with Charles Hinkle here on the floor. Windsor were about a shot away from opening up a 10-point lead. Now St. John's an opportunity to draw it back to 4.
Yeah, and really it starts with the defense. The starters for the Edge play good D. They get after it. They give you energy. They do things. Generally speaking, they're decent defensively. And like we said, when they go to the bench, they can get into some trouble, and then they can't sustain the scoring end of things as well. So you gotta put a heavy load on your starters right now.
5:54 left to go. Windsor Express 46, St. John's Edge 40. We'll be right back. Johnson for the inbounds for St. John's. Going to put it into the hands of Carl English. English doing his best traffic cop impersonation, directing traffic out there. Benpron goes to the basket. Can't get at the foul, and Barrett is just besides himself as he's called for a foul on that one. And I think Barrett might have a point.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a lot of contact there, but no, enough for a whistle, I guess.
Bremprong will go to the line. St. John's down by 6. It's amazing, Doug, and from the outsider's point of view, again, the amount of talking with the officials, and especially the veteran guys.
Yeah, but, I mean, you got to keep in mind that these are grown men. I mean,
I don't mean complaining. I mean
lobbying. No, and that's what I mean.
Lobbying,
yeah. You know, but they're grown men, and a lot of them have played all over the world, and they've seen a lot of things, so they're going to have an opinion about the way the game is managed.
Yep.
And I think you have to respect that because, again, they're not young guys, they're not kids, they're grown men.
The banter's just intriguing from whatever side of the ball you're looking at. There's a long shot by Stutz, can't fall. That one going to go off St. John's, I believe, and still be Windsor ball. That's a good call by the official there. 5:27 left to go. St. John's in the bonus already in this second quarter. We never saw many fouls early, but we've got them now.
Yeah.
Maurice Jones out for Shaquille Keith. Keith, long shot, and that one drops, and Keel framed that one like the Mona Lisa after he let that one go.
Yeah, he on the year, he's not a great three-point shooter, and he didn't shoot the three well the last time they were here, but he's on fire tonight.
English, tough shot there, catches the back of the iron. Rebound goes to the Express. Here's Jones. Jones, coast to coast, can't get under the hoop, though. Great feed there by Maurice Jones to a trailing Lutz. And the whole Windsor bench comes off their feet on that one. You can't blame him. That is a sweet pass by Jones. English, offensive rebound, keeping the play alive for St. John's, for Johnson. Johnson can't get the foul, but Charles Hinkle there on the boards. And the Edge have been dismayed sometimes by rebounding, but it looks pretty good here right now. Jones gets one, can't get at the fall. That rebound's grabbed by Desmond Lee, puts it into the hands of Johnson. Johnson gonna leave it for English. English back for Johnson. And Johnson, we talked about Jones being hesitant to shoot. I think we're seeing the same thing right now with Alex Johnson.
Yeah, Johnson has good games and bad games shooting the ball, but the one thing you like is, again, just Barrett just walks his way to a layup, although he misses it. the one thing you like is that Johnson's getting to the rim. He struggled last weekend to get to the rim, but tonight he is making things happen with the dribble penetration.
St. John's being saved by the offensive rebound once again, not getting that first shot the fall, but getting a second opportunity. Here's Johnson outside for Lee. Lee for Hinkle. Hinkle pulls up, shoots, gets that one dropped once again. Another rebound comes out. I don't know if St. John's are good or they're just getting fortunate here. English is going to pull up. Can't get it to fall. Someone take the saran wrap off that basket.
Like neither team is defending overly well, and it's almost like it's a hard game to commentate because there's not a lot of energy or life out there. This is like a dog day game where it's almost like both teams are just kind of trying to get it over with. Like we're not seeing either team really put like Barrett is giving a lot of effort, and so his team is up, but he's almost alone out there in terms of the other 9 players. You know,
I agree. At one point, it looked like Windsor were in a 2-3 zone, and if the ball was within arm's length, they got it. If not, I'm not moving. You know, it was one of those things. It's yours, not mine.
Yeah, and it's people are walking around like getting to the rim very easily, and if someone does help, there's no rotation, so it's a little dump pass and a layup. Like it's, I think whichever team decides that they're going to pick up their energy and really go for this is probably going to grab a lead here at some point in time.
45 St. John's, 53 Windsor. I know normally you say it the other way, but I want to be different sometimes. Here's Carl English. He gets fouled by Shaquille Keith there. Keith expressing to the official. Carl's probably trying to move into him, but little discussion. Both gentlemen nod their head. Nonetheless, not going to change the call. English goes to the line for the bonus.
There's Keith, who did a great job in the first quarter staying out of foul trouble, but he's in foul trouble now.
So that's 2 of their big men, Keith and Harris, with 3 here. 3:05 still to play in the opening half. English to the line. A lot of moving around, changing. Not sure if they're trying to freeze Carl English, but they better have a bucket of ice to throw over him. As I say that, the broadcaster's curse. I think that's the first shot Carl has missed in about 14 years from the free throw line. Just kidding, folks. Carl, very, very good free throw shooter, and he sinks the second one. Omar Strong back in now for Windsor. Strong kicks it down low. Back into his hands. Here's Strong. Clay Krellin into the game now for the Express as well. Omar Strong says, Clay, I'll take this one.
Yeah, it was a nasty move, like just a hard punch dribble and a pullback crossover for the jump shot.
Wally Ellenson, guarded by Barrett, kicks it over for Hinkle. Hinkle, little fadeaway jumper. That's a good shot there with Stutz coming up on him. And St. John's needed that one. Windsor up by 7 here with just under 2.5 to play. Strong down the right side. Omar Strong likes that right side of the floor, and that is why he just steps around the pick. And nothing there. Grandy Glaze and in a shouting exchange with Coach Dunlap.
Yeah, I think he felt he missed a rotation, but I mean, right now Omar Strong is just living it.
Strong out by half court. I wouldn't be too surprised to see him chuck it up from there. And you know something? There it is. Omar Strong from about 10 feet behind the foul line. Didn't get that one to drop, though. Johnson takes it back for St. John's. Ellenson. Hinkle on Strong. That's a mismatch that Hinkle will take all day long. Spins away, but good help there from Stutz coming in low. 1:41 left to go. 10-point ball game here. Windsor Express with their largest lead of the evening.
Yeah, we're going to get a timeout here by Windsor. Again, like I don't really know what to tell you. It's a bit of an ugly game. The defense isn't there. The energy isn't there. You know, I was so impressed Saturday night with what I saw from the edge, but this is back to Friday night when they got walked on a little bit by Moncton, and we're just not seeing the kind of consistent effort you need to see to be successful.
And is it, Doug, is it the Tuesday night blues? I mean, You know, we've seen it here in professional sports from time to time, but I mean, they're games. You got to play them.
Yeah, we're in the, like I said earlier, we're in the dog days, so we're in that point where the season's old enough now that the excitement and newness of everything is worn off, and we're far enough from the playoffs that there's no energy for what comes next. So now it's a matter of trying to get your players focused and to get them prepared, and for the players to prepare themselves for what they owe the fans on a night-to-night basis. Because what they, you know, the people who take the money out of their pocket and give it to the organization, the players then owe that to the fans to put best effort on the floor night after night.
1:41 left to go, 10-point ball game. Home and home series here with St. John's and Windsor. St. John's then going to hit the road for 4 games, taking a swing through Ontario. Johnson with the inbounds pass. Johnson to a wide open Grandy Glaze, and he stuffs that one like a Thanksgiving turkey.
Yeah, it was a great play with just some what looked like it was going to be a stagger screen for Carl, and really draw the defense to that stagger with Carl and Hinkle. And meanwhile, Glaze walks the rim for a dunk.
Jones trying to look off English. Jones to the outside. Big block there by Glaze. Glaze does it offensively and then answers back on defense. And there's a block by Barrett. All bets are off down low. Doug, my goodness, what a turn of events.
Yeah, but Glaze, when Glaze wants to play, he's a one-man wrecking crew. He's so athletic and so big and strong. He can get up and guard outside. He can dunk. He can do everything. But he's just got to make sure he's got his energy going all the time.
Krellin down low. Krellin still in the key there. I don't know if the 3-second rule exists in the NBL, because he was there for about 5. Here's English. Hinkle couldn't get it to drop, but he does draw the foul. That's a nice pass there by Alex Johnson.
I mean, it was 2 sensational plays. Johnson saw that cross-court pass from a mile away, just stayed back far enough to bait the hook, and then as soon as the guy threw it, he was in the lane and gone. But as he got up there, he knew he was surrounded by some big dudes, so he just threw that little behind-the-back drop pass for Hinkle, let him get fouled and get to the free throw line.
Hinkle steps in the line. He will sink the first of 2.
You know, my old high school coach always used to say, Doug, never take a timeout when you're ahead. Like, the Windsor timeout on that out of bounds made no sense. Like, it allowed St. John's to regroup. It allowed them to run a play and score on them. It allowed them to find their energy. Like, I've always believed it. Don't overcoach. Don't overcoach.
Real momentum killer there for sure.
Yeah.
Jones coming back down the floor for Windsor. Jones, what he might lack in shooting tonight, fantastic job handling the ball for Windsor. There's another turnover, though, and that one was Stutz. Puts it down low, and St. John's will call a timeout. 29 seconds left. 58-54, Windsor over to St. John's Edge. We'll be back. So St. John's down by 4 here. Just under 30 seconds left in this opening half. Windsor Express with the lead. Windsor bringing some bodies up the floor to pressure the ball. Ball's going to be inbounded by Hinkle. Hinkle puts it into the hands of Grandy Glaze. He's going to put it back to Hinkle, and it eventually gets into the hands of the man they want it to, Alex Johnson. Johnson guarded by Strong. Strong very aggressive up top on Johnson. Strong run into a hard screen there. Here's Johnson to the basket, and that is an unreal finger roll there by Alex Johnson. Yeah. Superman indeed. Tell us about it, Doug Partridge.
Yeah, they went to a horn set with the two high pick and roll option, and they come off Glaze's side, or they come off Hinkle's side and run Hinkle through off Glaze, hoping to switch, get the slip Glaze to the net, maybe get something there. But Johnson saw the lane all the way and danced his way in there with a beautiful move, and like you said, just a beautiful finger roll high off the backboard. And if you're a young player and you saw that the ability to put the ball up over the defense and use the top part of the backboard to finish is something you should work on.
Jaron Skeet is only now sitting down on the edge bench after that game. He was on his feet the whole time. That is a thing of beauty there by Alex Johnson.
And he came through a lot of contact to make it too. So, I mean, that's the other thing you have to give him a lot of respect for.
Johnson completes the three-point play the old-fashioned way. 12 seconds remain. Windsor, chance for the last shot of this opening half. No doubt they will use the clock to take it. Jones.
Another great play. Oh.
Jones fortunate enough there. He had the ball stripped from him, and fortunately it just bounced back into his hands. A little bit of bad luck there for the edge.
Yeah, just unlucky. Johnson's been sensational here in this last 2.5 minutes, and he flips the ball away from Jones and gets it loose, but can't get a teammate to dive on it and bounce right back to Jones and caught Johnson in a bad place for the foul. But one thing I will say with just under 3 seconds left, you know, we were saying we need energy. It looks like the edge has woken up. They've really brought the game to Windsor here in this last 2 minutes and then 25 seconds.
The last 1 minute in particular has been unbelievable. I mean, not just defense, but both ends of the floor and highlight reel attempts.
Yeah, Glaze started it, and then Johnson picked it up, and the two of them have been outstanding here. St. John's has closed the gap to just 2 points, and they'll get one more chance to see if they can knot this up or take a lead before half.
So what are we looking for here, Doug? Let's look into your coaching crystal ball here, and let's say we're going to call you Doug Dunlap for a second.
We'll see. I mean, I know what a lot of teams like to run. I don't know if Coach Dunlap has this in it. You've got the ball in the in the defensive backcourt. You run a guy kind of up toward the ball, so he's catching it around center, but you leave a shooter sort of 4 or 5 steps behind him in the offensive end. He catches that pass and just kind of flips it to the shooter, and oftentimes the shooter is wide open and gets a good look there. Now, like I said, I don't know if they have that in their playbook, but it's a nice little 2, 3 second, 4 second left in the game or a quarter kind of play. I think you may see them run some kind of back screen action here. They may try and move someone like Hinkle toward the ball and then maybe run them back off of a Glaze or someone like that to see if you can spring them open.
Real interesting there. The entire timeout, the coaching staff were out drawing up the play. The buzzer goes signifying the timeout's over. Then the coaches go in to talk.
Yeah,
this is a long time out here.
Yeah, and they're going to kind of get away with it. But it's one thing you got to think. I mean, nowadays at the pro level, the coaches they like to huddle before they go to the players. But you got to keep in mind at the NBA level, your timeout's 75 seconds.
Okay.
So you've got a little bit more time. I think sometimes here you have to have your plays already in your chest pocket, so you can just pull them out. I used to have them diagrammed on little cards, and so I could pull them out whatever I needed.
Inbound, that's stolen. Jones almost had a chance to put a dagger at the end of the quarter there for Windsor.
That almost went horribly wrong.
First half in the books. Windsor Express 59, St. John's Edge 57. We'll be back from Mile 1 Center in St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador. You're watching St. John's Edge basketball. We'll be back for the call of the second half.
Welcome to the Paradise Adams Hockey Team. Welcome to the first Paradise Cup. NCAA submit your request form today.
All right, St. John's Edge fans, it's time for a game that's familiar and brand new at the same time. We have Lincoln over here on this side. Let's hear it for Lincoln. There we go. We have Hampshire here on this side. Let's hear it. Yes. Okay, so the deal is this. They're going to shoot baskets from the free throw line. For each shot they get an X or an O. They place them on the back
The St. John's Edge are committed to assisting the growth of basketball in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. Planning has begun for a 3-day youth basketball camp this spring. Edge players and coaches will make special appearances throughout the camp. Keep checking sjedge.ca for further updates regarding this basketball development opportunity. On the weekend of February 16th to 18th, the NLBA will host the Hall of Fame Cup Elite 8 Championships at the NL Sports Center on Crosby Road. Here are the current high school team rankings. Mary Browns and the St. John's Edge are proud to be partners of the Hall of Fame Cup. Stars of New Evolution Wrestling at the St. John's Edge game on Wednesday, February 7th. NEW Superstars will be on hand for photos and autographs. Be sure to show up early, as there will be a wrestling match during the pregame warm-up and again at halftime. That's Wednesday, February 7th versus the Windsor Express. Get your tickets now. There's no home court like Mile One Center, and the St. John's Edge let you experience the NBL Canada like never before. Make yourself part of the team. There are single game, 5 and 10 game package options available. Call 576-7657 or visit sjedge.ca to get your tickets now. The St. John's Edge would like to send out a special thank you to our major partners: St. Anthony Basketball, The Telegram, Coastal Dance Company, Neutralon, Core Insight, and the Energy Company. Looking to get your group down to the St. John's Edge game? Be sure to check out our special group sale rates. Head on over to our Facebook page for more details or give us a call at 722-2195. Do you love St. John's Edge basketball? That's right, there's an app for that. Log on to the Apple or Android store and download the St. John's Edge app. You'll get the latest stats, news, and live streaming of all St. John's Edge games. Check it out on your phone or tablet now.
All right, we're back. Second half just about to get underway. Windsor Express 59, St. John's Edge 57. Gotta hope the second half sort of picks up where that first one left off. The last 2 minutes for both sides started to get pretty good. A little bit of excitement in the building. What do you think, Doug?
Yeah, I think if you're an Edge fan, you know, you took a great punch from Windsor in the first half and you answered in the last 2 minutes with a lot of energy. If you're a Windsor fan, you love what Keith and Omar Strong have brought here tonight in terms of offense.
So, Shaquille Keith right away looking for a call from the official, does not get it. That ball is out of bounds, and that is a good call there by the official. Keith will go down the floor shaking his head, but he's got a smile on his face from the big fella. Nothing wrong with that. Alex Johnson takes it down for St. John's. Johnson, Glaze, English, Hinkle, and Lee on the floor here for St. John's to open up this second half. Desmond Lee has moved into that starting lineup pretty consistently now, Doug.
Yeah, I mean, he's cemented his job. I think they needed to get a little bit bigger in their starting lineup. When Brodus and Johnson both started, they were a little bit too small. Now they're a little bit better in terms of their overall height, although you might like to see them still find a guy who can give them consistent minutes in that 6'9" kind of range, you know?
Fraser hits an open three ball. That's going to draw the ire of the St. John's fans. Good shot there by Fraser. Wide open like that, he will make them more often than not for sure. Aaron passed there by Johnson. Not quite sure where that one was going.
No, I don't know.
That almost hit the player in the head.
Yeah.
It's one of those ones you got no choice but to intercept because you're going to take it off the chops if you don't. Keith puts it into the hands of Fraser. Fraser, that is a travel, son.
Yeah.
All day long.
Yeah, I think he expected Carl to reach for the ball, and he thought he was going to get a cheap foul, and he wound up in the air and not knowing what he was going to do when the reach didn't come.
A couple times tonight, Fraser's almost outthinking himself. Just play the game.
Yes. Yeah.
He's shooting well when he's open. He's making the shots. He's playing well here for his squad. Probably knock off thinking about Carl and just do your stuff. Fraser with the ball again. You watch. He's wide open, and he makes the three. It's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Fraser with the last 6 points here in this one. Wide open both times from outside. There might be a note there. You might want to put a guy on that young man. Hinkle with a turnover again. There's a long feed to Keith, and Keith with a nice pickup and finish for Windsor. Big long pass from DeMontre Harris. Windsor stepping out to start this second half on fire, regained the 10-point lead.
Yeah, they brought their energy, and the Edge have lost theirs. They're just not. They look, again, haven't had a chance to talk about what they needed to do. They just look discombobulated.
Hinkle wide open from the outside, and Hinkle even misses that one. That's one Hinkle's been making all night long. Windsor trying to open up the biggest lead of the game, and they will do so indeed as Fraser drops the contested layup, and he'll take the foul. He'll go to the line. Timeout, St. John's 69-57 in favor of the Windsor Express. Doug, what's going on in Edgeland?
Again, it's the defense. You know, they're just that they played that 2 minutes of defense at the end of the first half to get you excited. The second half, they've come out and they're just standing around. There's no energy at the defensive end. The Express can get wherever they want. They can get whatever kind of shot they want. And even offensively now, mentally, they're just not dialed in. We saw Johnson just drive into the lane, have an easy dump down to Glaze, and instead throw the ball the other way right into the hands of the defense. So they just don't look together at all. And like I said, that 2 minute was almost like a tease of, hey, we got it, we figured it out. And then they go in and come out from halftime. It's like, oh no, we didn't figure it out.
So they had to figure it out quickly. The Windsor Express here opened up a 12-point lead. But as we all know, the St. John's Edge team, some offensive weapons. They just want to hang around, and they can strike very, very quickly. And this might be the longest timeout, I believe, maybe in the history of timeouts.
Yeah, they were doing a little promotional thing at the other end, cup stacking kind of contest. And
minute to win it, apparently.
Yeah. So I guess they got an extra
30-second
minute.
timeout turned into the minute timeout or something like that.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, Fraser's going to go to the line. Fraser, opportunity to score 9 unanswered points here opening this second half. Fraser, perfect from the line. So, second half, it's Fraser 9, St. John's nothing. I digress. We like picking on Fraser a little bit here, but I like the kid. He got some moxie.
And Lee is going to get to the foul line here, but this is, almost, like I said, it's almost a repeat of last Friday night. The Edge come out, they don't play with a lot of energy. They put themselves in a bit of hole. They make a run at the halftime to make the game look reasonable. They come out in the second half, and their offense just stops. Like, Desmond Lee goes to the net there and gets a foul, gets the free throw line, and that's good. But he did so in an isolation manner with 4 people watching him play and over top of 2 defenders. That's going to be hard to replicate for a whole half. They're going to need some more movement and something better on offense.
Harris grabs the rebound, going to put it into the hands of Jones to bring the ball up the floor. Here's Maurice Jones. Jones throws one underneath to the big man. Harris wide open underneath. Not much Grandy Glaze can do there without taking a foul. Nice feed there by Jones.
Oh, Glaze just got caught on the wrong side of his player in that stagger screen situation.
English for Glaze. Glaze with the flush. And let's see if that one brings some life out of the squad. Brought some life out of the fans. Just Coach Dunlap probably needs some bench production in this third quarter for sure. Here's Keith, Shaquille Keith. Down for Stutz. Stutz on Lee. Stutz, little soft touch over the top there. Logan Stutz knocks it down. The Windsor Express lead by 14 here in the third. English spins around from Fraser. Fraser's going to take a foul on the back there. Fraser not too happy about that call. But nonetheless, it will indeed be called. Chad Fraser leading the Express here with 17 points.
Yeah, he just exploded here in the second half. He really was pretty quiet in the first half, but he's come to play here in the third quarter.
Tied with Charles Hinkle, leading all scorers in the game. English down low. English looking for a little separation. English went on a little lapathon there, didn't get called. Here's Lee. Lee steps in. He takes a foul there from Stutz. And something, that's a foul, but a little bit slow blowing the whistle there.
Yeah, and again, we just see it's the edge have degenerated into the ice. And there's a place for isolation basketball in the sport. It's not an evil, but it's tough to maintain a consistent offense with nothing but isolation.
Charles Hinkle switches off for Johnson. Johnson back down to Hinkle. Hinkle. Good steal there by Fraser. Throws it back into the legs of Hinkle, though. Hinkle is just roughhoused down in the middle by Stutz. And that foul is going to go against Windsor. Tough defense, though. Windsor not making it easy here for St. John's.
No, they're stepping up, and they've got good overall length. I mean, in this lineup that they have on the floor now, they have good overall size and athleticism.
Ball inbounded out for Hinkle. Hinkle, little collision with Keith. Kicks it out for Johnson. Johnson looked from the outside, and Alex Johnson, both the edge and Alex Johnson needed that one.
Yeah, that's a good sign for him to knock down a shot from range. They can use those.
Jones pulls up, going to put it into the hands of Fraser. Fraser guarded by Lee. Fraser, ball to the floor, back for Jones. Jones looks to penetrate down low. Looks up, big Charles Hinkle is there. Here's Keith. Shaquille Keith penetrates outside. Good movement there by Windsor, and Sefton Barrett with the 3 ball at the buzzer for the shot clock. And that's some really nice movement there by the
Yeah,
Windsor Express.
That was great. They had the ball on a string. It was going everywhere, and then wound up they used the entire clock and got a wide open 3 at the end.
Jones back to do it again, kicks it to the outside. Fraser open, Fraser looks to penetrate instead. Can't get it. Glaze puts the ball to the floor. Glaze past Lee, almost took Desmond Lee's head off with that pass.
Yeah, a little bit too excited.
Turned over for Barrett. Barrett down low for Stutz. Out for Barrett. Barrett with a 3. Can't get that one to drop. Lucky thing for St. John's. Here's Johnson now. Johnson outside to Lee. Lee underneath the basket for Hinkle. Hinkle down low, and Hinkle will drop that one all day long. 12-point lead here for Windsor. 6:20 left in the third quarter. Fraser. Fraser to the floor. Fraser brings it in. Can't get the bucket to drop, though. And that foul is likely going to go against Grandy Glaze in the paint.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate. It'll be on Glaze, but English has to do a better job of sending the ball toward the corner. He's, defensively, they want to try and keep the ball moving out of the middle, and he just allowed himself to be driven over the top of too easily.
Fraser back to the line again here in this third quarter. Fraser likes the number 3 here tonight. He's been on fire in this third quarter for his Windsor Express squad. Fraser from the line makes it. And some guys, they must feed off the negative energy from the fans, especially on the road. Like, it's almost like a pro wrestling gimmick. The bad guy wants to be the bad guy. I'm getting the sense from Fraser that's what it is here.
Yeah, I can remember one time, I can't remember who it was, but I remember someone saying in the press that noise is noise. Like they said, I feed off of energy. I don't care if the energy's positive, negative. It don't matter to me whether you're booing me, cheering me. As long as there's noise, that's feeding my energy. And a lot of players, I think, are like that.
Chad Fraser now checking out of this third quarter.
Well, but that's the luxury, right? I mean, he's just played his guts out. He's given you control of the game, and he goes to the bench, and who comes in? Oh, yeah, an all-star, Omar Strong.
Yeah, really.
So, I mean, that's a luxury. And this is why in the NBA all the good players are gravitating to certain teams, because it's hard to carry a team for 48 minutes.
Yeah.
But if I can come out there and bust myself for 7, 8, give you everything I got, score hard, then go off, another good guy goes in, I get my blow, he tears it up for a little while, then he comes out and I tear it. It's hard to guard that.
But is that one of those things, Doug, is the player, like sometimes does the player look at the coach and sort of wave him off? Like, hey, I'm okay, I'm hot as a pistol right now, I'm good. Is that something, a little nonverbal language there sometimes?
I think if the coach has coached the player for a while, I think he or she can see whether the player is starting to wear down a little bit, usually in either their rebounding or their defensive rotations.
Omar Strong in for Keith. Keith, nice feed for Barrett. Barrett on the reverse, gets it to fall. And the Windsor Express looking real sharp here in this third quarter.
Yeah.
Jaron Skeet now into the game for St. John's, along with Ransford Bemprong and Wally Ellison. English pass in for Bemprong. Bemprong rejected down low by Barrett. Fortunately for St. John's, ball was rebounded by Ellison, kicks it to a wide open Hinkle on the outside, and Hinkle knocks down the 3. But how about that defense from Sefton Barrett?
Yeah, and again, he's been everywhere this game. You've really, really been impressive. Although that shot was a little weak, but he's really been strong this game overall. Like, his energy has been high. He's defended well. He's blocked shots. He's hit a couple threes, which aren't his forte. He's gotten to the rim. So he's been had a major impact on the game.
We're going to see Vasily Kurcic check into the game here.
And I think you have to. Bemprong, like I said, is just unfortunately not been that effective the last couple games.
Ball kicked out now for Keith. Keith goes right to Kurcic right away. Kurcic stands him up, causes the turnover as Hinkle gets fouled. Shaquille Keith, I believe, with that foul. And if so, that might be Keith's 5th foul of the game.
Yeah, and he's banging his head with his hand, and he's frustrated with himself for that decision. I mean, I thought Kurcic played great defense to wall off the key on him. He turns the ball over, getting stopped, and then runs and commits a bad foul.
Jaron Skeet just runs a pick on the outside. Kirchich practically flattened Omar Strong in that pick. Tell you what, Omar Strong is strong, because if that was me, I'd be crying for mom down on the floor right now. Windsor up by 11 with possession. Maurice Jones down low. Jones pulls up the foul line, and he gets it to drop. Carl English looking for a double dribble call there.
And again, you can't let Jones get to his right hand. If you let him get to his right hand and bounce it with his right hand, he's going to knock that shot down all game long.
Skeet one-on-one now and Strong. Skeet switches off, and Barrett guards him up top. If you're a fan of the edge, you want Barrett up top. You don't want Barrett anywhere near that basket.
Oh, no.
English with a 3 ball. That's a tough contested shot. Gets it to drop, though. Brings St. John's back to 10. Omar Strong trying to answer back right away. Catches iron, though, and Jaron Skeet will pick it up for the edge. Omar Strong, he is aggressive on defense. To me, by far the most aggressive defense around the floor. Here's English. English catches, puts one into Kirchich. Kirchich back for English. English falling away jumper, can't get it to drop, though. Skeet steps into Strong, and that's probably a good foul there, as we had the old 2-on-0 to the basket without the call.
Yeah, and eventually I think you'll probably see, I think it's going to happen in the NBA and happen in this league. You're going to see the FIBA rule where if you foul to stop a fast break, it's going to be 2 in the ball.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. And that's a clear example. It wasn't a hard, dirty foul or anything, but they were going to the basket for free score.
And professional sport is an entertainment business. It's not entertaining to watch guys commit fouls at half court. It's entertaining to see fast breaks.
Stutz posts up on Kirchich. Casilli defended pretty good there, but that's a nice move by Stutz.
Yeah, but you're still letting him get into the middle of the floor with his right hand. Yes, you're there to contest it, but if you're going to let guys get to their strong hand, they're going to score more often than not at this level.
There you go. Hinkle puts the ball down and low for Kirchich in the paint. Kirchich trying to go up.
Yeah, there's a lot of contact there.
Stutz looking for the jump ball call.
Yeah, that's a little ambitious on his part.
A little ambitious means no way, Jose. 3:07 left to go in the third quarter. 85-73 for the Windsor Express here over to St. John's Edge. St. John's once again going to go to the foul line now every trip with over 3 minutes left.
Yeah, and they, other than Hinkle, they have 4 subs out here. So this is an important time for them because their subs, like we've said, have struggled a little bit to get traction and provide scoring. And they're going to need them to do something here.
I like the game plan by Windsor to get aggressive here. They first 6-7 minutes, no fouls, whatever, but in the second quarter and this third quarter, they are contesting everything. And if St. John's are getting something, they're going to pay.
Yeah, and that has been a strategy that numerous teams have employed, and it has worked fairly well. I mean, we can think of a couple of games just Saturday night where the Edge had a big lead and couldn't hold it against a team that fouled them a lot down the stretch. An earlier game this year, I think against Niagara, who went to an aggressive fouling strategy to close the gap a fair amount. London did it once. So it's a strategy that kind of takes St. John's out of their game.
Skeet now. Strong's tough on him. Kicks it in for Hinkle. Hinkle spins away. Sefton Barrett didn't realize Hinkle was going to put it up, but Hinkle could not put that one down. Barrett now. He's guarded by Hinkle. Hinkle and Barrett chasing each other up and down the floor here. Strong to the outside. Tyler Haas checked into the game here for St. John's. Here's Jones. Jones guarded by Skeet. Jones kicks it out for Barrett. Barrett tries to come into the paint. We'll have a blocking call here likely on Charles Hinkle. Russell Bird going to come back in. He'll replace Hinkle. And you talked about the starters gone now. Now let's see what's up.
Now you got all 5 subs on the floor, so
key 2 minutes here in this end of this third quarter. Omar Strong on the outside. He's guarded by Tyler Haas. Strong picks it up, drops it down, can't get it to fall though. Rebound grab by the edge, and Wally Ellenson puts it into the hands of Skeet. Jaron Skeet up the floor. Skeet, a little bit of daylight in the middle. Skeet, nice finger roll to the basket and gets it to fall, and that is a deft touch there by Jaron Skeet.
Yeah, and what he took advantage. I mean, Hawes can shoot, Ellenson can shoot, Bird can shoot. Kirkic is actually a pretty good shooter too. So you've got 4 guys kind of spreading the floor out for you, and he went right to the rim and then got again that nice finger roll finish high in the air.
It's almost like he put a little English on the ball. He just didn't let it go. He wanted to get that foul. That was great timing. We hear the skeet chants here from the Mile 1 faithful. Jaron can't complete the 3-point play, however. Kirkic almost got the rebound. We see Hubert got a thumb in the eye or something on the play. Here's Jones. Jones driving to the lane. Maurice Jones penetrates and gets fouled. And we got a little bit of a discussion going on below the basket between Sefton Barrett and Vasily Kirkic.
Yeah, Barrett was hot at the other end about something on that layup that Skeet did, and he left his rebounding position to stand in the middle of the key and talk to Skeet. The referee had to move him away back to his rebounding position. I think now he's getting, you know, he probably coming out, and Kirkic is all knees and elbows. He's going to come out there and get into you, and not in a dirty way, but he's not going to take it easy on you. He's not going to back down. I mean, so I think that Barrett is a little bit hot because Kirkic is giving him the business when he comes in the key.
Jones perfect from the line. Opens up the 11-point lead here one more time for the Windsor Express. Talking about this aggressive game plan, though, still a little early, and you've got 3 guys with 3, 4, and 5 fouls.
Yeah, and that's the one thing you have to worry about when you do go to a, you know, we're going to manhandle you a little bit strategy. You got to hope you got enough depth, but you know, the Express have shown good depth here in this game.
Ellenson trapped underneath, gets it out for Skeet. Skeet, he's manhandled down low. Skeet comes up Barrett with some good defense there. Out for Jones, and he'll take the free layup and the foul from Kirkic, and the entire Windsor Express bench is on their feet. And boy, I got to be honest, Doug, not much here from St. John's. No, wildered faces down on that bench.
I think, you know, again, this was kind of where we were building toward, maybe, in that, you know, last Friday night they play a game. The bench is not effective. You got to go heavy on the starters in the second half. You don't quite get it done. You come out Saturday night, you need that win. You go heavy on your starters. Bench plays very little. First half of tonight, you go heavy on your starters. Bench doesn't play a lot. So, you know, at some point in time, you're playing a lot of games in few days, and if your bench cannot make plays, it's going to wear your starters out, and you're going to be in a tough spot.
1:15 left to go. 14-point game here, 14-point lead for Windsor.
And again, in that situation, you know, the ball is coming back. Ellenson's not guarding anybody. Skeet's not guarding anybody. And Kirkic has to sprint back to try and cover everyone in the key. You know, the bench is, if they can't score, they got to guard. And if they don't score or guard, it's tough.
Randy Glaze checking back into the game now for St. John's. So we see one of the starters come in. And both teams in the bonus now. Talk about the aggressive play of Windsor. St. John's all of a sudden quickly pick up a few fouls, and they're in the bonus as well. Ball's out of bounds there. Otley Jr. could not get a hold of that one. Good defensive play by Wally Ellenson to cause that turnover. That was an interesting one. Skeet and Omar Strong just basically run into each other and put their arms up.
Yeah, Skeet does a lot of that sort of stuff to try and see if he can draw a foul, get an arm hooked in, or get on someone or walk into them just to see if he can get a foul here or there, right?
Omar Strong with the foul. Makes quite the reaction after it's called. I like the official here. Nice and cool, calm, collected, explaining what went on. Omar still having a little chat with him.
Yeah.
You can see the official telling
and you
Omar,
can see
settle down. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, and that's what I said before the game. He's a professional. He carries himself so well, and he's so good at just de-escalating situations into a conversation as opposed to a confrontation, right? Because a lot of referees would have just, the minute he began reenacting the play, they would have snapped him right there, right?
Skeet to the line, drains his first shot. And the ski chant comes out here at mile 1. Last minute of play of this third quarter. Windsor in control, up by a dozen. Here's Jones. Jones into just inside the key, gets a nice little floater drop. We made the comment about Maurice Jones before, Doug. I remember specifically when they were in St. John's. That guy plays a lot of minutes.
Yeah.
And at high energy.
Yeah.
Drive to the basket there by Ellenson. Can't get it to drop, but Tyler Haas is there. And Haas and Ellenson, sort of a fit from the old TV show, The White Shadow. Two of the boys look like down there. On the floor, good follow-up by Haas. Last seconds, Jones with the ball now. Jones working for the last shot. Jones is going to take it from way outside there. That was about 15 feet beyond the three-point line. Maurice Jones, and just drained it.
Like we said, he's you know, he hasn't necessarily shown us that range at all in the games that he's played here, but he is good when he bounces that ball with his right hand, and that's what happened. He pulled up off that right hand for that three.
Maurice Jones all of a sudden at 8 points. The Windsor Express with 5 players in double digits, and they'll take a 15-point lead into the fourth quarter. Windsor 95, St. John's 80. We'll be right back. All right, getting ready to go. Fourth quarter, St. John's Edge basketball. Edge in a big hole in this one tonight. 95-80 for the Windsor Express. Grandee Glaze. St. John's back to the starting 5, and no big shock there, Doug. They need to be to start this fourth.
Yeah, I would say that their starters are going to get about a 5-minute run here. And if they can't turn it into a game, if it's still 15-17, I think they may get benched then, and you may ride this one out, live to fight another day. Otley almost tipped that in his own net.
Otley did almost tip. I was sort of stunned for words there. How do you score that on the score sheet?
Yeah.
Does the player who passed it in get credit for the basket?
Typically, it's the last. No, I think well, they use FIBA rules. The captain of the other team gets credit for the bucket.
Wow. Right on. All right, I'll shake my head at that one. 11:37, fourth quarter, 15-point ball game, and got an intentional foul here, I believe.
No, Glaze got snapped with a technical, so he must have. He said something after he went to the net and tried to somehow, I don't know what his complaint would have been, because the pass was off target. He did all he could to try and get a hand on the ball, but there was no way that there was going to be a foul call there.
You can tell he's pretty hot down there, still on the bench, so the coach has to bring Bemprong in to settle things down. Here's Otley Jr. Otley Jr., nice drive through the lane, finger roll, gets it to drop.
Yeah, no contest there, no.
Wide open.
Yeah.
English. Once again with Fraser. English and Fraser have had a thing going since November here, for sure. Foul goes against Otley Jr., I believe, in that one. That is going to send Desmond Lee to the line for St. John's.
Yeah, and again, the biggest thing is St. John's has to figure out what happens after their 5 starters. I mean, they've got a nice starting 5, good talent, good diversity of skills. But after a promising start, Bremprong really hasn't brought anything the last number of games. The subs are not very athletic. They struggle to defend, and they can't produce points. So,
aside from that, everything's good, though.
Yeah, I mean, I know that's a damning indictment of the bench, but they've either got to show that they belong in the league, or you've got to find players who do.
But it's funny, Doug, and I do agree with you 100% on your comments. But we have seen at times some of those guys been very, very good for the St. John's team. So, like you say, you talk about the dog days of February.
Yeah,
maybe it's that.
It could be, and it could also be fit. It could be that these are all good players who can contribute, but don't necessarily fit together as a unit. So you've got to maybe reimagine how you use all 10 of your players, not just those 5.
Yep. 100-point mark hit by the Windsor Express here. 184 in favor of the Express. Fraser down to the floor. He goes rolling around a little, back up to his feet. Helped up by Otley Jr.
Now, I mean, the other thing, to give the Express credit, Barrett has really picked up his game since the first time we saw him. I think he was a good athlete.
I think he's been the best
who worked
player on the
hard,
floor tonight.
but he's been impressive here tonight.
Yeah, I believe he's been the best player on the floor for both teams.
Yeah, I mean, the addition of Omar Strong now gives you much more scoring depth and much more punch in your overall lineup. And the consistency of what you can do offensively as he knocks down the 3
great shot
is much more dangerous. And they still got some question marks that, like, DeMontre Harris is not a bad player, but he's not real mobile, and in this kind of league he can struggle at times to move his feet and stay in front of people. And so they may have still some question marks kind of at the 5 spot, but I'll tell you, they talk about the lineup of death with Golden State. I mean, when they go to Keith, if he can stay out of foul trouble, and then you've got Barrett, and you've got Strong, and you've got Jones, and you've got Frazier. It's not a big lineup, but it's a very effective. There's a lot of firepower there.
I want to add 2 things to that. Number one, not a whole pile of real good big men in this league.
No.
Like, Grandy Glaze is not the biggest man in this league, and I believe at one point he was leading the league in rebounds. I mean, he does his job well. The other point I want to make, this is probably, right now, what we're seeing here tonight on the floor, this is the best team I've ever seen with a record of 10 and 12.
Yeah, and of course, keep in mind that Omar Strong was the leading scorer for another team in the league up until this point, right?
Just about, I believe he really pushes them up.
Yeah.
Lee drives to the basket, takes a foul. Good rejection there by Hubert. Foul's going to go against Barrett, though, before he gets to the line. That'll give Desmond a chance to shoot 2. Barrett makes the first shot from the charity stripe. And St. John's, I don't know what it's got to be tonight. Maybe just keep driving and get to that free throw line. Maybe that's the way to chip at it. As we see Barrett knock down his second one.
Yeah, but eventually, they're on pace to give up 130 points. Like, at some point in time, you got to stop somebody.
Yeah,
That's the fundamental problem here. I mean, St. John's has 87 points with 10 minutes to go. They're going to have a good scoring night. That's not the problem. It's not how we get points. It's
the defense, absolutely.
We've got to find some way at the other end to offer resistance.
9:58 left to go, fourth quarter. 103-87 Windsor over St. John's. Stutz on the inbounds to Fraser, back for Stutz. Stutz going to move it up to Omar Strong, down for Otley Jr. Great break out there by the Windsor Express. Here's a good defense here, intercepted by Hinkle. Hinkle to English. English pulls up and knocks down the three-point play. And that brings the St. John's faithful to their feet. You can see already here a little bit of extra energy by the St. John's edge.
Yeah, they brought out a 1-2-1-1 full court press, and they worked on the first possession. But the second possession, you could see they're just that little bit slow getting back.
And you can see the pace of the game gets pushed. Maurice Jones comes right back in.
Yeah,
he's an answer to that.
Yeah, if they're going to press, Jones is not going to spend much time. Like you say, he might be the minutes leader for the league in terms of what we've seen. But, you know, he's in great shape and he can handle it.
Otley Jr. checks out. He's done a pretty good job for Windsor tonight. But Jones back into the game now. English on Stutz. Stutz trying to keep English to the outside. English still with possession. Shot clock down to 5. English drains to the lane. Floater off the glass. Gets that one to drop. Carl English with points here for St. John's. Hinkle going to get called for the foul. Hinkle trying to say that Fraser's foot was out of bounds.
And he's 100% right, but it was out of bounds because he shoved him out there.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, you're right, Charles, but you can't drop the shoulder into him, big fella. 13-point lead here for Windsor. St. John's need a substantial run to just try to get some pressure back here on Windsor.
Yeah.
Windsor leading for the most part of the night. I believe St. John's only led the game at 1 point.
Yeah, yeah.
Omar Strong called with an offensive foul.
I mean, the good news, again, if you're an Edge fan, is there's 9 minutes left. That's an eternity in a basketball game. So there's a lot of time here to make a rally. But, you know, you've got it like they got that turnover with the press. They draw the offensive foul now. If they can start getting some consistent stops, then they could make something happen.
Johnson up the floor. Johnson bringing it to the right side, trying to bring it over for Carl English. Here's English. English almost threw that one away. Picked up by Johnson, though. Johnson in the lane, down for Glaze. Couldn't get the foul. Ball knocked out of bounds by, that's Maurice
Jones. It was a nice play by him.
With the big men.
He got beat on the dribble, but he rotated all the way down and tipped it away from the big guy.
I got caught. Here's Hinkle. Hinkle a shot. That one draws up empty. Des Lee trying to get the rebound. Strong trying to draw a foul there from Johnson. Strong moves it over for Jones. Jones on English. Jones kicks to the outside for Stutz. Stutz open in the corner, hits the 3. And Stutz with a big shot there for Windsor. Johnson for Hinkle. Here's Hinkle over for Des Lee now. Lee waiting for Glaze to come up top for the screen. Lee, tough shot there on a fadeaway. Can't get that one to drop, and Fraser with some good defense there for Windsor.
I think Lee took a little bit of contact. He was hoping by shooting that fadeaway he might get the foul, but I think the refs just thought it wasn't a good enough attempt on the goal to merit the foul call.
Omar Strong, sorry, misses the shot there. Hubert, pretty obvious foul on Grandy Glaze. Glaze pulls the rebound down. 7:41 left to go here, 16-point ball game. And what we keep waiting for, Doug, when is that edge run gonna come? We think they score 2 in a row, but then they give up 3.
Yeah, they just can't, like we said, they just can't get the consistent stops to put a run together.
Skeet checks into the game now. Skeet moves it over for English. English shot from the top of the key, can't get that to fall. Ellenson battled hard for the rebound, could not get it away from big Shaquille Key for Windsor. Here's Jones up the floor. Maurice Jones. Guarded up top by Ellenson. Jones penetrates down low, and once again, they let him go to his right hand. He's very, very dangerous there.
Yeah, that's a tough matchup for Ellenson. He's not really built to defend a guy like Jones that far from the bucket. So it is unfortunate for him, and he gets caught in that position.
Well, with the lineup on the floor, it's probably Skeet and maybe Hinkle could help out there.
You're absolutely right. I mean, again, defensively, I mean, Skeet is not a great athlete, You know, and then you've got Carl out there too, who at this stage in his career would not be considered athletic. So Ellenson and Hinkle are the best two athletes on the floor.
So Doug, when you say someone's not a great athlete or they're not that athletic, what is it exactly you're referring to? Because obviously all these guys are in shape.
Athleticism is lateral quickness, verticality, the ability to jump, and body control. So it's those three things. So most of these guys have the body control piece. They're professional athletes. But the lateral quickness, the verticality, that's what separates the plus athletes from the minus athletes.
And that's not something they can just decide next week they're going to go get. That's something from years and years of training. And
well, it's I had a friend in coaching who always used to say, you know what, Doug, God makes first cuts. Like there is a certain amount of this in which you're either born with it or you're not born with it. So if you're either, you know, you either had the good feet, like a guy like Randy Glaze has the great feet. Like he's got the feet of a ballerina on the body of a tight end. You know, like he's just so light and he moves so effortlessly.
You are on fire tonight. That's a couple of good ones.
But you look at someone like Skeet. Skeet doesn't have those quick feet. He doesn't have that ability to kind of cover a lot of territory or go side to side really quickly.
And I bring it up because people listening at home, they might be saying, geez, this color guy, he's really hard on these guys, not calling them athletes. And that's not what you mean. It's the traits that lead to athletic skills.
Yeah, I think people sometimes think if you're athletic, it means you play your sport well. No, that means you're skilled. And again, all these guys, they wouldn't be professionals if they weren't skilled, you know? So it's not a matter of skill. It's a matter of those athletic traits that give you an advantage in a game like basketball.
Windsor come back down the floor. St. John's looking for a foul on one end, get it in the other. And Coach Steve Marcus up to his feet on the bench, incensed.
Yeah, I thought Carl made a nice move to the net there. It rolled the wrong way on him. It didn't go in. I didn't see a lot in terms of shot-altering contact. There's contact every time every player goes to the bucket. But I didn't see a lot of shot-altering contact on the move.
Stutz makes the first one for the line. Stutz doing what he's supposed to do tonight. He's 5 of 6. Field goals, I mean, that's what he is.
Yeah, what I like now is again, the increase, the improvement in their depth and the players they have. You're not asking Stutz now to play 38 minutes and score 25 points. You're not, or you know, you're limiting his, again, because he's not a great athlete, not a great defender. You're limiting his liability by saying, okay, if we give you 25 minutes and you've just got to knock down shots when you're open, that's something he can do very easily.
5:29 left to go. The Windsor Express in control, leading St. John's 112-96. We'll be right back. .5:29 left to go, fourth quarter. Windsor Express in control, and full credit to the Express. It's been their night here at Mile 1 tonight.
Yeah, they've looked great. They've played with energy. They had a little bit of a lull there in the second quarter, but by and large, they've played with energy and done things that they need to do to be successful.
Skeet brings it to the basket, throws it away, though. And that will be Windsor ball. On the point guard position, Doug, we see really the only two guys we see handling the ball with regularity are Skeet and Johnson right now. Johnson's really being depended on a lot.
Yeah, and
I haven't seen Williams play. Is he a guy who handles the ball a lot?
yes,
Okay.
I mean, having Karan Williams out with the hamstring injury
That's
is a
really
big
hurt.
loss.
Absolutely.
Because he's an outstanding three-point shooter. He's a guy that can get you 20 points on any night. He can do the same kinds of things that Omar Strong can do. So he's the kind of guy that could hold your whole second unit together.
Okay.
So without him, it really throws everything into chaos.
To me, that point guard position, that ball handler, that's been a glaring omission here tonight, and obviously he would fill that void.
Yeah.
English down for Glaze. Glaze, quick move around Fraser, and there's those ballerina feet you were talking about. But it got into the, what was it, the body you said was?
Body of a tight end.
Tight end body. I was going to say a big old gorilla down there then, but the body of a tight end is better. I like that. Yeah. Can't get at the foul. Good move by Glaze, though, getting by Fraser. St. John's faithful. And here's the beauty of this game of basketball here. They've been on their feet a few times tonight. We just see Carl English pretty much get hacked in the face on that foul. Fraser wondering what the foul's for. Wow. St. John's fans have had things to cheer, and once again, it's not the offense. They're going to score well over 100 points here tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, I mean, like you said, the beauty of the game of basketball is there's so much action within the time frame that you're always going to find exciting things to get behind or feel good about when you watch a game.
English sinks the second one from the line. Hinkle's going to come off the bench now, check back in. Coach Dunlap now going to make his move, so to say. Here's Jones. Jones on the outside. Windsor very coyly using that shot clock now. They're not going to try anything till it hits 10, you got to think.
Yeah.
Down for Stutz. Stutz walks around Glaze, and Stutz with a nice little move there. Showing some pretty good feet for the big man. English guarded by Keith. English trying to find some room in the middle. English drives through out for Glaze, and Glaze comes through with a big flush for St. John's, and if that don't get him going, nothing will here tonight. Great play by Carl. He knew Glaze was there coming down. Jones outside for Fraser, and Fraser and Glaze were going at it pretty hard there. The officials missed it. Glaze threw a big elbow right into his solar plexus that the officials missed.
And that's what Fraser's saying now, that he felt that was a little bit.
I'm with Fraser on that one. That was excessive. Yeah. Big fella Glaze going to say. I never said I didn't like it, by the way. I just said it was excessive. I'm okay with it. I'm okay, Grandy, big fella. You play tough, man. I like it. 351, 114, 100. Both teams in the triple digits, still with 4 minutes left to play. Stutz takes the inbounds from Fraser. Fraser now gets it back from Stutz. Fraser going to stay out top. Fraser, one-on-one with English. Fraser puts the shot up, can't get it to draw. English with some good, strong defense on that play. Hinkle now brings it down the floor. Hinkle out for Bird. Bird to English. English double team in the corner. English is going to put it up. Can't get it to drop, though. Rebound by Shaquille Keith. Finds the hand of Logan Stutz. The Minuteman. Jones going to bring it up the floor. Jones patiently waiting for that shot clock to get under 10. It's there now. Here's Keith. Keith isolated over with Hinkle. Keith going to kick it to the outside for Strong. That ball is going to go off the foot of English. Only 2 seconds remain on the shot clock. So is that an instance where they put the clock up to 14 again?
No, if they're called a football, it would go to 14. But if they say there was no intent on the foot, then it stays at 2.
To me, I didn't see much intent on that one. That hit him in the upper leg area.
Yeah, no, so they're going to leave it as is, and they'll have 2 seconds to get a shot off here. Oh.
Official going to the scorer's table. Maybe he's saying differently. Still showing 2 seconds on the shot clock, and it is indeed 2 seconds.
Yeah.
So, Let's see what they got in their bag of tricks for this one. Fraser going to inbound the ball. Fraser is always talking. Stutz, he's stripped there by Bird. Ball kept in bounds by Johnson. Long pass down the floor to Hinkle. Hinkle for Skeet. Skeet from the outside, can't get that one to drop. And Windsor come back with the ball. St. John's probably need a little better shot selection on that. Then again,
well, I think we're at that point.
You're down by a boatload. Sure.
Yeah, if you hit that three, you got a chance maybe to stage a late rally. If you miss it, you're just where you were, where the game's kind of over anyway.
Foul called away from the ball, going to go against Russell Bird.
Yeah, so Bird is sort of saying that Stutz put a knee up into him on the screen, but regardless.
I tell you what, if, just looking here, if Chad Fraser is paid by the word he speaks, he's probably making just as much money as LeBron James in the NBL here. Because that guy has not shut up the entire night. He's going, whether it be talking to the edge, talking to the officials, talking to his own team. And people might out there think I'm being negative towards Fraser. I'm not. I mean, he's into it. That's just the style. I have no issue with that. I really don't.
Yeah, I grew up with a lot of guys who were like that. That's how they got themselves going. It's how they kept themselves going.
Good defense there. Once again, it's Fraser makes the play. Keith goes in for the foul. We got a foul call on that one? Oh, boy. Keith put the ball down the floor, and it just hit off his foot and went out of bounds.
Went out of bounds, and then he threw his arms up like he got hit. I don't, but.
All right, so.
But if you've played with the energy Keith has played with all game long, maybe you've earned a couple calls like that.
Yeah, I'll go with that, yeah. 2:20 left to go, 115-100. Windsor Express over St. John's. Keith to the foul line. Fresh new tape on his hands, too. Good tape job there by the trainer.
Yeah. This one has stood up to the whole half as opposed to the stuff that he tore off in the first half.
Keith is perfect from the foul line. Substitution coming in the game. Wally Ellenson going to come back in. And Ellison will take out Hinkle, and might be white flag time here for the St. John's Edge.
I think more or less, yeah. I think they're sort of saying, okay, we just this is a night again when we don't have it.
The beauty of these home and homes, though, if things don't go well for you night one, you do indeed live to fight another day.
Yeah, it is dangerous, though, because you know, tomorrow's going to be your fourth game in 6 days. Like we said, you've leaned heavily on your starters through this first three. Fatigue will be a factor. If you can't get anything going tomorrow, suddenly you're staring at having lost 3 or 4 at home. And that's, and now, do we just need to get Williams healthy and get straight and play a little bit more of a balanced schedule and be fine, or do we need to push some buttons and make some changes? You don't want to panic, certainly. You don't want to ride the roller coaster, but
I can tell you one thing, Doug, this Edge team is not afraid of pushing the button to make changes. We've seen that all year long, but I'm with you. I don't know if they're into that situation yet. And by all means, the coach GM, Jeff Dunlop, and the group here that run the Edge, they certainly know a lot more than what I do. I won't say a lot more than what you do because, hey, I think you know a hell of a lot. But we might see change, we may not. I happen to think this team is a pretty good ball club on the floor.
Yes, and I would agree if they can figure out how to arrange their lineups and their rotations to not have to overplay certain people.
125, 17-point lead here for the new and improved Windsor Express. The injection of Omar Strong into the lineup paying instant dividends for Windsor here tonight. Strong with a strong game, mind the pun. 6 for 10 from field goal range, 16 points for the Edge. Chad Fraser leading the Windsor Express in scoring with 19, albeit Chad had 9 of them in the first 40 seconds of the third quarter. And Charles Hinkle leading all scorers for St. John's, leading all scorers for both teams with 22. And on the flip side of the Fraser comment, Hinkle's most of his points were in the first half.
Yeah. He was. It was a little tougher for him in the second, and I also think that Windsor clamped down on him a little bit in the second. I thought.
Listen, Sefton Barrett was all over Hinkle in that second half. To me, if you want to pick an unsung hero of this game, it's Sefton Barrett for the Windsor Express.
Yes, absolutely. And the other thing to keep in mind is Rayson seemed to get hurt there in the first half. He got tangled up and fell to the floor and got and left the game and has not returned.
No, he's not. He's not on the bench either. No matter, because Maurice Jones can play 42,000 minutes. Really, we need to get that young man to pee in a bottle after the game, because I tell you what, he's made of something. Good for you, Maurice. That's impressive. You want to talk about athleticism or at least being in shape? That young man's in shape.
Yeah. I'm
in shape too, but I'm more of a shape of a pear. 36 seconds left to go here. 117-102. As they say, I've rounded into shape quite nicely. Both teams in the bonus. Right now, the Edge looking for a little bit of a feel good to finish off this one. Go into tomorrow night. Little discussion between the official and not Russell Burrs, Wally Ellenson. Ball going to be inbounded here, and we're going to see Clay Krellin back into the game. Krellin checked in the first half for a few minutes. He's back in now for Windsor. Sefton Barrett upended. He's going to get to go to the line to shoot a couple here now. And the St. John's faithful starting to filter out here at mile one.
Yeah, sensing that this one, but give them credit. They hung in there quite long, you know.
I guarantee if this was the old hockey days here, this place would be empty as soon as the 50-50 draw was announced. No doubt about it. So the fans here, they love the basketball here in St. John's. The Edge are hopefully here to stay. Great product here on the floor. If you're watching here in the St. John's area, get on down here tomorrow night. Certainly. You can't replace the feel of the building sitting at home on the computer. You might miss the smooth tones of Doug Partridge, but hey, get down and feel the action. Final seconds now. Strong just going to hold on to the ball with this one. Shot clock and game clock around the same. Big effort here by the Windsor Express tonight. They're going to take it. We won't say final score yet, because Strong, he's liable to throw one up from the bathroom or something. He's shooting from everywhere. Final score. Windsor Express, St. John's Edge. Windsor Express 118, St. John's 102. Final thoughts, Doug, and maybe let's talk a little bit about tomorrow.
Yeah, I think if you're teeing up tomorrow, I mean, the Express want to come out tomorrow with the same energy and defensive game plan that they had tonight in terms of smothering that three-point line, try and get people playing a little bit more inside, going to the net. I think they did a great job defending there, and they got a great offensive balance throughout their lineup. If you're the Edge, like I said, you know, it's back to the drawing board kind of thing for a second time in 6 days to say, what do we, you know, they need to have that better energy at the start of the game. They need to have that better oomph in themselves, defensively especially. They've got to figure out a way to stay in front of people and make the shots tougher. And they got to figure out how they're going to rest their players so that they have the energy in the second half to make plays.
So there you go, folks. You've heard it from your parents time and time again growing up. Always listen to the professor. For Doug Partridge, I'm Steve Power. Wishing you all a good night from Mile 1 Center in St. John's. Please join us again tomorrow at 7 o'clock Newfoundland time as the St. John's Edge will tangle once again with the Windsor Express. Good night.